Week 4 of the fantasy football season is already here. And to get us started to set our winning lineups, I'm bringing in Michael Fabiano, SI's senior fantasy analyst. Fabs, let's kick it off with the quarterback position. Who are we trusting this week?
It's been a strange season when after 3 weeks I have to tell people when to start Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't been good this year. He's averaging 12 points a game. That's pathetic. But here's the good news. He seemed to have found a number one wide receiver last week in Romeo Doubs, and he's got the Patriots this week. They've given up 6 touchdown passes and an average of over 21 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. This is not your father's Patriots defense. Start Aaron Rodgers. And then let's go over the pond to see Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings face the New Orleans Saints. And I like Cousins this week. He's had 18-plus fantasy points in 2 of 3 games. And that one game that he didn't have 18, that was on a Monday night. We know what happens to Captain Kirk on those days. He's also had 12 touchdowns and averaged almost 25 fantasy points a game in 4 career meetings against New Orleans. I see Kirk Cousins as a low-end QB1.
And as far as who we're sitting at quarterback, you have the reigning Super Bowl champion quarterback and one of my top waiver wire claims on the sit list.
And Matthew Stafford is coming off of a dreadful game. No touchdown passes. It was the first time that he hasn't had 1 touchdown pass at least in a game in his last 27 regular season contests. Now he's got the Niners. They've given up the second fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks so far this year. And in his last road game against the Niners, Stafford had 9.8 fantasy points. He is a super flex option at best. And I think Trevor Lawrence is in that same category. Listen, he was great last week. And maybe at the end of the week, Jen, I'll be having egg on my face. But I don't like this matchup against the Eagles. Their defense has allowed an average of just 11 points per game to that quarterback spot. This is a very tough matchup for Trevor Lawrence. If he lights up the Eagles like he did the Chargers, I will come on the air next week and say I was wrong. But the matchup says sit Trevor Lawrence in traditional leagues.